tib fib fracture. This is for US.
Yeah, don't help her, don't raise your knee up. Slide it nice and high. Now just tell your patient what you're doing before you do it.
I feel like.
Hold on to the ends of it, there you go, and slide it back. That's good, that's good. Now, another one behind the knee and just above the knee.
Just behind the knee and.
Behind the knee and just below the knee. Would we leave our boots on or take them off? If it's a tib fib fracture, since they are pretty snug to her leg, we might leave them in place to act like aid in the splinting. If EMS was on the scene, they would probably cut them down the seam so they could be in there.
That would be bad.
Just slide it up so it's just above the knee. Okay. And the one you got below the knee is actually needs to come right there. I'll put one more behind the knee and pile it up on top of the knee.
One behind it. Why can't these already be done? And crossing on top of the knee?
Yeah, just pile it up on top of the knee. There you go. Go behind the ankle. Can you get under her ankle, or do you need to slide that one all the way down to her ankle?
I can get behind her.
All right.
Where is her fracture?
I'm going to say, imagine that she doesn't have the boots on and it's right about just below the top edge of the boot. Okay?
So that's where her fracture is located.
Now, she needs to check CMS before she actually starts tying anything into place. So for all the splinting, it works for leg, for ankle, if they've got their arm in next to their body, put your ties in place before you try and put the splints in place. So how's she going to check circulation? Or can she in this case? She really can't. There's no way of really checking it. So she would have to bypass that and rely on sensation and motor function by squeezing the boot, asking if she could feel it, and then have her tighten her toes. If she had on low-cut shoes, then she could do the pulse. You're going to take that trauma bandage and fold it lengthwise and lay it and horseshoe it around the end of the splint. Just come up here on top of it. There you go. And that's going to go between her legs. She was good. She realized that she needed to put the padded side of the splint next to the leg. You want to adjust it a little bit because right now the one tie is above it, so you need to adjust the tie down a little bit. Or move the splint up a little bit.
Excuse me.
What's
Could be a little personal.
Instead of saying, excuse me, what should she say to the patient? Well, she could say, this is going to help you. She could also ask to pick up the patient, sit up, you could ask the patient to help you. So this one's going to lay along the outside, and you need it to extend 2 or 3 inches below the bottom of the foot. So it can go up a little bit. There you go. Okay, the first one you tie. You guys are just, did you have too much sugar at lunch today? Oh, you had dessert on lunch, that's what it was. Tie the one at the very top and just tie it with a bow.
Tie it with a bow.
Tie it with a bow. This is not tied for splinting. This is only being tied to keep the boards from falling down. Okay? Now, you're going to have to scoot down so you can get to so you can get ready to tie these. Okay? What we're going to do, I'm going to come down here and help you. So a couple of you are going to have to move because you don't want to stay in that position. Trust me. comes in really nice. Her boot really fills in the gaps quite a bit. So we're just gonna take some gauze pads and put them right in here. Okay, to tie this, you really almost end up tying a one-handed knot. Because what you're going to do is bring this across the ankle, pull it down, and pull it out at an angle. Can you guys see that? If not, get up and move. Please move so I don't have to stay on my knees all the time. I'm going to come around and catch this and pull it up. All right, so I'm keeping tension on it so I can get it tied enough. And then I'm going to come around and tie the second half of the knot. By pulling that sharp angle on it, it allows me to get it tight enough that it's probably not going to loosen up. So you're going to come up and tie the next one.
Would I tie it here, considering that's sort of...
We're going to say the fracture's just a little bit below. I would move the top one depending on where the fracture is. So pull down, no, with your left hand, grab it a little bit closer to the board. You get enough tension pulled on it, it'll hold it tight without jerking the boards around.
Yeah, my leg's broken.
Now with your right hand, loop it around to make the other half of your knot.
Yeah, that didn't work. I'm gonna improvise. I just hit the board.
All right. Skip the one at the knee, go to the one just above the knee. On top, the one on top of the knee, just push it down out of your way for the moment. Now she could almost have her patient, because she could have her patient help hold that first half of the knot. This will not slip. When she holds that tension down and loops it through, she has to loop it through and pull up. If she tries to pull down, she'll never get it tight enough. Now you need to retie the top one for tightness.
So do I need to pull it?
It needs to be, should be tied on the board. And she should be tugging that through very gently so that that foot doesn't end up in her face. Okay. We're going to take the one, right now, do we have the tib fib stabilized?
Partially.
Partially, but not particularly, because she can still flex her knee, she can still plantar and dorsiflex her foot. So what we've done was we're going to create a sling underneath the knee. I'm going to use a stick or something flat that I can find to loop over the end of this, and I'm going to slide it under the board from this direction. Handle first. And then do the same thing with the other one. Now, just lay them down and snug them up a little bit. Don't jerk very hard, because that's good. If you go any tighter than that, you'll make the boards flare out. Now take a roller bandage and lay it lengthwise on her knee like this, just below the patella. No, on top. This way, not this way. There you go.
This
Right on top, right on top.
I thought you said just below.
No, right, well, at the, where I'm showing you on my leg, how's that? Sorry about that. Okay, now tie on top of the bandage. Why not tie directly over the top of the patella? You don't want that downward pressure. So she's almost done. She's got 2 more things to do. 3 more. She's gonna tuck in all of her loose ends. So you've got something that will fill in gaps. Be real gentle so that you don't move the fracture point. Has she got everything stabilized now, gentlemen? No? Ladies are saying no. Gentlemen are just kind of sitting there today. Take your last triangular bandage. Hold it and come down here to her foot, down here. Okay, make it nice and wide like you did before. We're gonna do what's called an ankle hitch. And what you're gonna do with this, put it right across almost the ball of her foot like this. Okay? And come up and crisscross it over the top of her foot. Try not to kick the boards, of course. Now, take your left index finger and put it right here. Okay? Take this end, come down, and go under the board and up in between. Bring it to the left, the inner side. Try not to jiggle and move quite that much. Now do the same thing with this end, except come up the medial side. She just did a figure 8 between the foot and the board, and she's gonna tie it on top of the foot. She might be able to wrap around and tie it on the bottom of the foot. It just depends on how much length is left over. All right? That's called an ankle hitch. That will not eliminate plantar dorsiflexion, but it will reduce it and make the person feel more comfortable. So the only thing she'd need to do to finish would be CMS. So again, since she's got boots on, she's going to only be able to do this, the motor function and sensation. Make sense?